a few weeks ago we talked about Abraham Lincoln and how he created history. Who can remember what Abraham Lincoln did that was so important that he created history?
The trees were there.
He was a president.
He was a president. What did he do as a president?
On the ground.
Super
That would be
important.
human. Or not be human. That would be physical.
Yes.
Humans don't put
He
that
helped
there.
end slavery.
That's
So,
right. He wrote the Emancipation Proclamation and freed all of the slaves. But after the slaves were freed, things still weren't perfect. African American people were still suffering with some things. So Martin Luther King came around years and years and years later, and he pointed out that things still were not fair. And one of the things that weren't fair were drinking fountains. As you can see, white people were able to use that drinking fountain, and that one made nice cold water like we're used to from our drinking fountains. But the other one, it wasn't so cold. It was old, and it wasn't very nice. And that wasn't very fair, was it? No. So Martin Luther King was like, I don't like that. And there was other things too, like segregated buses. They had to sit, African Americans had to sit in the back of the bus, even if there were seats open in the front. So if there was no seats open in the back, then they would have to stand in the back all crowded together, even if there was open seats in the front. So that isn't fair, was it? No. And then the last one, you know how we have a community swimming pool nearby where we can all go and swim together and have fun? Well, the African American people during that time couldn't do that. There were signs outside the pool saying that they couldn't go in. How would you feel if there was a sign out there saying you couldn't go in? Not happy. You'd be upset and you'd feel left out. Well, Martin Luther King, he decided that he was going to make a change. He was going to do something about it. And we're going to learn a little bit more about Martin Luther King from our friend, Kid President.
So I'll know where you got it from.
Remember, as we watch this video, our hands stay to ourselves and we're not writing. We are just watching.
Look through and see the mountains. So I might try my best to spell.
It's funny to think about because now we know his name so well. But at one time, he was just a kid. Like maybe you're a kid watching this. Well, he was a kid too. Well, maybe you're a grown-up. That's okay too. All kids are welcome here. I don't discriminate. Martin Luther King grew up to be a great man, of course. But things weren't all that great in the world while he was growing up. Not everybody was treated like they were somebody. And I believe that you should treat everybody like this is a birthday. But they didn't do that. People looked at the color of your skin. And that's how they decided if they were friends or not. Not cool, man. That didn't make him feel good. That didn't make anybody feel good. But his parents helped him grow up. He went to church. He learned about love. He grew up to be a minister to help a lot of people. He did all sorts of cool stuff. He helped a lot of people learn about love too. But still, he looked around and said, things should be better. He wanted to change things. So he did stuff. He decided, instead of spreading the hate, he would spread the love. He wanted to bring people together. Where people were hurting, he stepped in to help. He marched with them. He walked with them. He walked arm in arm with everyone. Sometimes it didn't go well, but he kept going. Sometimes he ended up in prison, but he kept going. Some people didn't like him, but he kept going. Some days were hard, but he kept going. Love does that, it just keeps going, even when things are dark. And, well, I don't like this part of the story, but things did get pretty dark. Someone who didn't agree with him shot him. He died in April 1968. Now, keep President, why are you telling us this sad story? Come on. I know, I'm sorry, but it happened. I don't like that happened. Now I gotta tell you something. When things aren't awesome, it can be tough. And things won't always be awesome, but your response can be. Martin Luther King's response? It was awesome. Today I just wanted us to think about this. Isn't it cool that we can change things? Like any of us, anybody. He dreamed and he changed things. And he dreamed and he kept sharing his dreams. They became not just his dream, a lot of people's dream. Like this one. I have a dream that little black boys and black girls join hands with white boys and white girls and become sisters and brothers. That's a pretty good dream. Let's dream like that. That could change things.
And that is about an interview he did with someone else, so we're not going to watch that part. But like Kid President said, we can be like Martin Luther King, and we can make change and create history just like him. That's why it's so important that we learn about different examples that Martin Luther King did that created history. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're all going to stand up. And we're going to find two partners. Everybody find two partners. It's going to be really hard in this class because there's so many of you. Okay. So with your two partners, on the count of 3, you're going to make a pose that reminds you of Martin Luther King Jr. It can be anything you want. It just has to be something that you can explain that reminds you of Martin Luther King Jr. For example, I might do praying hands because he was a minister and a preacher and he prays. So you guys get to choose your own pose. On the count of 3, think really hard. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, now explain to your partners why you chose your pose.
He sounds like a superhero to me.
I did holding hands because he wants white boys and white girls to hold hands with black boys and black girls.
I had my hand up because he stood up for something.
Those are all really good examples. I really liked what Lauren had to say and what you guys had to say, but what Lauren had to say plays really well into what we're talking about. He created history by having a dream that everyone would be able to stand together and hold hands regardless of the color of their skin. So he went on marches and he went on walks. But you know what he never ever did? What did he never ever do? Yes, Becca.
He never was violent, like by hitting people.
Yeah, he never hit people or he was never violent. He acted out of love. So Martin Luther King created history by showing Americans that there's another way to solve problems, not just with violence. Okay, you can have a seat now. Thank you.
But if you draw, you have to write an explanation of how it's physical and how it's...
I'm going to give you each a book that's called I Have a Dream. And you're going to read the book and in it highlight one thing that you think talks about how Martin Luther King created history. So you're going to find an example of how he created history. But don't start yet because I'm going to give you directions for what to do afterwards. So once you finish, you need to come and show me what you highlighted or underlined. And if I say, okay, sounds good, then you can come up here and get a piece of construction paper. You can choose purple or red. And you're going to trace your foot. And you're going to write on the back side your name. And on the front side, one thing that Martin Luther King Jr. did to create history. And there's a few examples, and I'll hang them up as you read. This one's done by Mr. Lefker, that's why it's so big. And when you're done with those, you can color on them and draw on them. And I'll hang them up, and we'll make a path of footprints to fairness, because Martin Luther King went on so many really long walks, taking lots of footsteps, all to get to fairness for everyone. So that's why we're doing footprints. So remember, on the front, you're going to write one thing that he did to create history, and on the back, you're going to write your name. And in your books, you're going to read them and highlight one thing that you think is a good example of how Martin Luther King Jr. created history. All right, go ahead and start.
Because if you didn't share it, no one would have ever known.
That's right. Very good. You can go ahead and start the footprint of fairness activity.
You can over and show Nicole what you made, and Nicole can show you what she made.
dreams people could pray together. And how did that create history?
People could worship together in the same church, not two different churches.
That's right. You can go ahead and move on to the next section. Make sure you're tracing your foot and then we'll trace your foot and then right on the front back. Yes, Becca?
He dreamed that people could learn to work together.
He did. And how did that help create history?
That helped create history by allowing all people to work in the same place.
That's right. All right, now you can go ahead and grab an all-in piece of construction paper and trace your foot.
Okay, is everybody done?
I like how Kara is working so studiously.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. So, does everybody know what everybody else made?
I don't know if you're cutting that.
Hear what yours is?
Okay. You're welcome.
Would you like some help, Becca?
Yeah, I would. Thank you. You can just trim around it.
So everyone
What are you going to write about on your foot?
I'm going to first write my name so you know who I am when I turn it in.
That's really smart.
And then I'm going to write that he changed history by encouraging others to work together.
I like that.
Thank you.
That's a very good idea.
Yep. Thank you for being such good students today.
Very pretty cool. What did you learn about Kara?
I learned that Martin Luther King Jr. made history by sharing his dream of freedom.
I really like how you underline sharing. Why did you do that?
Because it was very important for him to share it.
That's right. Why was it so important that he shared?
Because if he didn't share, no one would have ever known.
Yeah, so we should probably share our ideas, right? Yeah, we need other people to know. What did you write about, Laura?
He stood up for history.
He did.
For others.
He did stand up for others. How does he do that?
He announced to everybody that he had a dream.
He also acted non-violently, right?
Yeah, he did. I forgot about that.
Becca, I'm really excited to hear what you wrote about.
I wrote about how Martin Luther King encouraged people of all different backgrounds to work together.
That's so great. How did that change history?
It allowed people who might have not been able to work together now.
That's right. That's very important because we don't want anyone to feel like they're left out or treated unfairly, right? No one likes it. That's not fair. Alright, when you're all done, make sure you're coloring your footprint or bringing it to the front, and you can color your book. Are you done with yours?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You can color your book back as you wait. Thank you for putting your name on the map.
You're welcome.
You all done? I like how you put a drawing on them. You're such a great artist. Are you all done, Laura? I am. Thank you. Now you guys can color your book as I hang up this last footprint, or you can throw your scraps away It's important to keep our workspace nice and clean.
Thank you, Kara.
Now I'm going to give you each a ticket out the door. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and you're going to write in boxes. Okay, the first question is, what did you learn about Martin Luther King Jr. today? Forget to put your name on your tickets, please. I love how everyone is on task. The second question is, how did you feel during this lesson? Okay, if you're waiting, just think about the lesson. And the last question is, what was your favorite part? The whole lesson, which one was your favorite? And when you're all done, you can give them to me. Thank you guys so much for being such great learners today. Thank you, thank you. Goodbye, my friends.